You want to make friends but you have no idea how to start a conversation with someone? This video is going to solve that because I'm going to be giving you more than 15 conversation starters to make friends and start talking to anyone. Hi my best friends and welcome back to my sleepover. Today's video marks the start of a new series on this channel, which is going to be all about how to make friends and is going to take you from loner, zero friends, all the way to popular and social. I know these things work because I've done it myself. When I was in high school, I went from someone who had zero friends, was always alone, was really shy and awkward, all the way to a person who was incredibly social, was extroverted, popular, and had so many friends. Today's video is the first episode in the series, which is conversation starters to make friends. I'm gonna be giving you guys conversation starters for different situations, and if you watch the video till the end but you still feel like there's nothing that I've said that you can use, then you can definitely comment your situation down in the comments and I will reply with a conversation starter. Okay, first things first, I'm gonna be telling you guys something that you can use to start a conversation with someone, and I'm also, if you guys are patient enough, even going to be telling you guys how you can make someone start a conversation with you. The first conversation starter that you can use if you're near someone that you want to start a conversation with, the easiest thing that you can do is choose something that you like that they have, did, or maybe something that they're wearing. For example, maybe they're wearing a really pretty butterfly ring. You can start with complimenting that item, being like, hey, I really like your butterfly ring, where did you get it? And then afterwards, once the person answers that, you can go on to ask more questions about that item and highlight something similar between you two, which is going to make the other person that you're talking to like you more, because we tend to like people that are similar to us. Maybe if it's relevant, asking for a history or significance of that ring, which is actually the second conversation starter that I've used so many times and you can use. This one is honestly the easiest when it comes to people who have tattoos. So if someone has a tattoo, like me right here, for example, you can definitely be like, I love your tattoo. Does it have a meaning behind it? Or how long have you had it? Basically asking anything related to the history of the item or something that they have. Even if you see someone post a really cute picture of their dog, compliment the dog and then be like, how long have you had the dog? And sharing your own story as well, which is actually number 3. The compliment paired together with sharing your own story. If the person that you want to start a conversation with is wearing maybe some kind of merch, or maybe they're wearing a special band t-shirt, or they have anything that indicates their fandom, artists that they like, or movies that they like, you can use that to start a conversation with them. Let's say someone's wearing a Machine Gun Kelly t-shirt. You can ask them how long have they been listening to Machine Gun Kelly, which song is their favorite, which era of Machine Gun Kelly they like the most. You would also be getting them to talk about something that they love, which people really like talking about something that they're passionate about. So that's gonna make them feel good and that's gonna make the conversation longer as well. And basically this brings me into the whole category name that unites these conversation starters that I've just told you guys. Say hi. What's a conversation starter you can use to start talking to someone?
You would say like, hi, let's hope you mention something like something good about the person. You'd be like something neutral, you know, like
With your microphone.
I would say like nice weather, for example, so nice outside, some activities as well, do some sports and stuff like that. What are your hobbies and stuff?
How would you start talking to me?
I would give you a compliment because you're cute.
Well, that was a spontaneous interview with my boyfriend, who's very simple when it comes to conversation, so you can even know that maybe talking about the weather can even work for some people.
Just be confident.
So as I was saying, this whole category I call those the conversation starter items, which is something that you can even use to make someone start a conversation with you without even saying anything to them. So basically a conversation starter item can be anything from interesting rings to merch to something that's just a little unusual, something that can be complimented, or something that when a person sees it, they might want to say something about. At school, this can look like having a really pretty maybe MacBook case or a phone case that is kind of unusual, so someone might say something to you about it, or having one of those fortune tellers. You can make those pretty easily and that usually like draws people in. Having even a Rubik's cube that people can just come up to you and be like, oh my god, can I like try playing with that? Or like, hey, wow, do you know how to put that together? I've always wanted to try it. Wearing something that's pretty popular at that school, so if everyone really likes Jordans, you can have some really interesting Jordans that is going to get people coming up to you and asking about them, giving giving you compliments and starting a conversation from there. For me, one of the biggest ones was my MacBook case that I've always had when I was in school and that I have to this day. It's my favorite MacBook case ever, and I'll even link it if you guys want to check it out. But basically it's this one that says composition book on it, and back when I was in school I used to have the black one, which looks exactly like a notebook, and people would constantly keep thinking that it was a notebook. And whenever I would open my MacBook, someone would be like, oh my god, that's a computer? I'm like, yes. And they're like, wow, that's such a cool case, I thought it was a notebook. And we would just start talking from there. So you can see how this can lead to someone starting a conversation with you instead of you having to go up and talk to them. If you know that the person that you want to start talking to is really good at makeup, or you see them wearing a really pretty, maybe even a little complicated makeup look, there are two ways to go about this. One, you can go up to them, compliment their makeup look, and then be like, how did you get your eyeliner to have such a perfect straight wing? Because mine always comes out looking so crooked. Could you give me some tips? Or the second route is that if you know that they're good at makeup, you can go up to them and ask them for a makeup advice. Same thing if you're struggling with eyeliner, you can be like, hey, I know you're really good at makeup. I really can't do a straight wing with my liner. It always ends up looking so strange. Can you give me some tips, because I know you're amazing at makeup? And this also plays into psychology of getting someone to like you more, because when someone helps you out in some way, they subconsciously become invested in you succeeding. When someone does a small favor for someone else, they start liking that person more. So you asking them to help you out a little bit by giving you advice is going to make that person like you a little more and might make them more likely to want to be friends with you. But this can be used in other ways too. So the next conversation starter, which I lost count, I think this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, I think it's the 8th. That didn't look like 8. Is to ask them for help on something that they do really well. This can be about absolutely anything: sports, music, classes. You can ask someone for help with a certain class that you know they're really good at. I know that I've started talking to a lot of people just because I used to be really good at math when I was in school, and I used to be really good at physics as well. So a lot of people would constantly come up to me asking me like if I solved some equation that we had for the homework and how I did it, and then that would lead to having conversations with those people. So also here, if you want someone to even walk up to you with this, you can just make sure to show, not in like a show-offy way, but make sure not to hide the things that you're good at. Next conversation starter that can also be a conversation continuer is talking about something related to the current event. So maybe there's an event that's happening at your college, maybe they changed the syllabus, or maybe if you're in high school, maybe prom is coming up, or not even at school events, like maybe a new movie coming out when Wicked came out, for example. Going up to them being like, hey, like, have you heard about this? And then asking what they think about it, or maybe if they're going to that event as well. This next one you can use if you have absolutely nothing to talk to that person about and you're either at school or you're in university and you're in a close proximity to that person. You can be like, hey, do you have gum? And then just try to continue the conversation with something else. You can also, in order to start talking to someone, congratulate them on something that they have achieved. So maybe if you've seen them perform in a play at your school or college recently, or maybe that person did the presentation really well, you can start a conversation with them by congratulating them on that thing and then asking something related to that to keep the conversation going. Next one is using a shared interest. So maybe you saw them post something on their social media about liking something that you also like. You can either reply to that post and DM them saying that you also like that and ask something about that shared interest, or you can do that in real life as well if you find out that they like something that you like. Next one is also pretty similar, which is just replying to their story on social media. An easy one is also asking anything about their hobby. And the next conversation that almost anyone can use is if you have a class together, if you have a project together, anything that you're doing with that person, you can ask for a clarification on something. So like maybe you're in a classroom together and the professor said something and you didn't really hear it, you can just turn to that person if they're sitting next to you and you can be like, hey, I kind of zoned out so I missed that. Can you please tell me like what we're supposed to do? Or just ask about a clarification on a certain thing regarding the homework. And one of the best things that you can honestly use is something that is relatable. So maybe you're in a situation together where you're feeling the same way. Maybe you're in a classroom and the professor didn't email anyone, but they decided to make the class online, but both of you just came to class and now you're kind of mad about it. That has happened to me so many times, but you can use that as a relatable conversation starter. Oh my god, I absolutely hate what this professor did. And then they'll probably agree with it because they're in the same situation, they're feeling the same way. So something that you know that both of you can relate to can be really, really good. This next one is a little more niche. So it's for people if you're new to school or if you're new to college or any place basically where you see this person, you can just go up to them, introduce yourself and be like, I'm new, so I'm kind of lost around the school. Would you be able to tell me like how this works or where this classroom is? And also moving on to more like social media conversation starters as well, which I've mentioned replying to stories, but you can also use the whole compliment thing on social media. You can reply to their posts and be like, I love this jacket, where'd you get it, so on and so forth. Or you could also, if this person is someone that you want to become friends with but you talk here and there occasionally, how you can start a texting conversation online with this person is basically even sending them a relatable reel or something like that. But I want to give the shout out of the week, which goes to Sylvie Reed. Thank you so much for all of your amazing comments, and thank you so much for being a part of this channel. Your comments are always so sweet and so nice. You're honestly the sweetest person ever, and your comments always make me so happy and they always make my days. But if I've missed any conversation starters that you guys know and you use, then definitely comment them down below. And if you feel like I haven't mentioned anything that you can use in your situation, then also comment down below and I'll try to reply with a conversation starter. And if you want to know some psychology hacks that are going to help you make more friends, then definitely check out this video right here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!